What do we need to do to manage the classroom? You tried rewards like prizes and candy, and that didn't work. You tried consequences like calling home and taking away privileges, and that didn't work either. And you stood in front of the classroom with your arms folded, waiting and waiting, and that didn't work either because trying strategies is not what's going to help you manage the classroom, but understanding the principles of classroom management will. That's why this video breaks down classroom management to its core so that you can teach stress-free in your classroom. I'm former terrible teacher turned two-time teacher of the year, Daryl Williams Jr., and this video is a lesson taken from the course Classroom Management Made Simple, which lives inside of Impact. Impact is our thriving new teacher community that helps you master the principles of effective instruction so that you can become the teacher you've always wanted to be and make the impact you've always wanted to make. With new courses released monthly, a thriving and supportive community, and performance-based monthly rewards, it is the place to be if you are tired of not reaching your full potential as a teacher. Click the link in the description to get started for free today. And here is a lesson from the course, Classroom Management Made Simple.
Focusing on actions instead of outcomes. What does that mean? If you want to actually achieve your goals this year, there's just 3 things you have to do. To actually achieve your goals this year, I promise we can make this thing happen. The first thing that you want to do is you want to backwards plan from the expected outcome. Backwards plan from the expected outcome. If you don't know what backwards plan is, just put some question marks in the chat so I need to know how deep I need to go. But if I don't see any question marks, I'm going to keep going. So backwards plan, I'll kind of give you an example. You want to think about the ultimate goal of where you want to end up, the vision, like what you want to see, happen. And then you plan backwards from that to see what it's going to take in order for you to get there. So the example that I like to give is like running the long jump in track. So I used to be a track coach. This is my first year not being a track coach in the last about 7 years. But one of the field events is the long jump. And what students have to do during the long jump is they have to run and they have to leap from a specific line as far as they can into a sand pit. All right. I got you, Natasha. I'm going to explain it. They have to jump as far as they can into a sand pit. Right. So what we train students to do, we don't want them to step over the line. We don't want them to miss the line, because if you save, maybe 7 inches, that's 7 inches off of your jump. That could have been in the sand, right? So we want them to hit the board exactly where they're supposed to take off from. So what we do is we have students or athletes stand on the board, the takeoff board. They stand on the board, turn around, and sprint back to the starting point. And as they sprint back, they're counting their steps. And they sprint back, they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then maybe get to 27 steps. And then when they land on that 27th step, they'll put a piece of tape on the ground. So now what does that mean? That means now when I stand on this piece of tape, it is exactly 27 steps. You get it. Come on. 27 paces from this piece of tape to the border I'm supposed to take off from. So now during the competition, they know I can run hard for 27 steps. And as soon as I hit that 27th step, I'm going to leap and I should be taking off right off of the board. That's what backwards planning is. You're starting from where you want to take off, turning around, sprinting back to the starting point, and then saying, what do I need to do to get from here to there? So backwards plan from the expected outcome. If you're looking at the goals that you have in your class and you're saying, I want to make sure that every single student reaches their stretch growth in iReady, what are the things that need to happen consistently in order for the students to reach their stretch growth? All right, so that means that we need to spend time on platform at least 20 minutes a week. Maybe somebody's saying it's at least 40 minutes a week, right? So we're backwards planning, because if I don't have that consistent plan, then what's going to happen is I'm going to take the beginning of the year diagnostic and the middle of the year diagnostic and just hope for the best. But what we can do instead is say, by the end of the year, I want every single student to reach their stretch growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we do those check-ins, or make sure that I make sure that students are using the platform or reading nightly, whatever it is. But you're identifying the things that need to happen along the way in order to make that goal eventually achieved. That's it. So we're going to backwards plan from the expected outcome. So for every goal that you have, start to think about, this is where I want to be. Here's where I am. Let me start here. What are the things I need to do to get from where I am to where I want to be? All right. You got it. The next thing that we're gonna do,
What if I told you that the principles that are being taught in this video could be taught to your school community live and in person? Well, the answer is yes. I'm Daryl Williams Jr., and you know that I'm on a mission to help a million students be able to live the life that they choose, not the life they're forced to settle for. And I do that by empowering new teachers to have a big impact on student achievement data without burning out, without feeling unsupported, and without changing who they are. So if there's a message that I can empower your students, your staff, your school community with, I would love to pop up in person and make that happen and provide massive value for your school community. Check the link in the description below to fill out a booking form, and somebody from the team will get back to you about how we can work together.
is after we backwards plan. I hope that's helpful for you. If it's not, you need to slow down, let me know. I see Jennifer is saying, listen, backwards design for content should work for classroom management, right? It should, right? It should, that backwards design. Now, as you're backwards planning, here's the game changer that a lot of people don't recognize. What you can do is now, as you look at the actions that you need to take, you list out the daily, the weekly, and the monthly actions. And this is something that I actually honestly do, and I'm going to show you how to do it as well. Because what happens is a lot of people focus on outcomes instead of actions. If we can be honest, you can't control the outcome. Let me say it one more time because I need to release somebody. You cannot control the outcome. All you can control is the action that you do. For example, somebody that's saying, I want to make sure that, again, let's just stick with every student reaching their stretch growth and iReady, or let's go with something universal. Every student passing the end of year assessment, or every student getting a 4 or 5 on their IB test, right? You can't actually control the answers that students are going to put on the day of the assessment. True or false? You can't actually control that outcome because you can't control what students are going to do. You can't control what questions are going to be on the end of year standardized assessment. Like you don't get to control any of those things, so you don't get to control the outcome. What you can do is you can control your actions. You can say that, listen, every single day we are going to do independent reading for 10 minutes. I used to be a math teacher, but I'm focused on reading here tonight. You can say every single week, we are going to answer a DOK level 3 question. Every single month, you see what I'm saying? Because what we're going to do now is after we backwards plan, we're going to decide what are the things that I know if they do these things consistently, if we as a class do these things consistently, it is going to lead to that expected outcome. List out the daily, the weekly, and the monthly actions that you have to do. And as you list out those actions, the last step is to remain committed to the process. And if I can be honest, this is the hardest part. Hildy said this is the hardest part. It was the mental decision to get up and run every day. So you can have your action plan, you can have your guide, you can have the plan that you want to implement, the daily, the weekly, and the monthly tasks and actions that you have to do. But if you don't have the mindset that says I'm going to remain committed to the process, that's where it gets to be tricky. What even is commitment? One of my favorite speakers gave me the definition of the word commitment. I'm never going to forget it. He said, commitment is remaining true to what you said you would do long after the mood that you set it in has left. That was Inky Johnson. Listen, commitment, staying true to what you said you were going to do long after the mood that you set it in has left. That is what commitment is. When you're setting these goals, when you're listing out these daily, weekly, and monthly actions, you're in a mood that says, we can do this, we got this. You're excited, you're motivated, you're inspired. But after that mood leaves, can you remain committed to the process? Over 50% of marriages end in divorce. But very few marriages end in divorce on the honeymoon. Why? Because the mood is right. Like the mood is right. I can remain committed when the mood is right. But what happens is eventually that mood fades. Eventually things get hard. Eventually you start trying and testing my patience. Eventually you start leaving the cap off the toothpaste. Right? Eventually things happen. The mood changes and I'm no longer committed to the process. But those who actually achieve goals, what the 8% know that the 92% don't, is that if you focus on your actions instead of the outcomes, you can't be stopped. Got it? Awesome, Sharice. Awesome. So now you know me. I'm always thinking in the mind of the listener, the teacher, the whoever's listening on the calls, and I know somebody is sitting here thinking that there's something standing in your way. So my question to you is, what's stopping you? And somebody's thinking to themselves, well, the thing that's stopping me is I don't know how to track my progress to remain committed. Like how do I know if I'm on doing the right track, if I'm on the right track? How do I know if I'm doing things the right way? Right? Some of us are wondering that. I can set a goal, awesome, and I feel like I can achieve it, but how am I going to track my progress along the way? One of the things that I highly recommend is a habit tracker. And I might make this a little bit bigger if I don't confuse myself. And there we go. I got it. Sorry, it's a new platform. All right, so here's a habit tracker. And as you notice on the left side, you can list out your daily habits. And in that, circle looking thing, you check off every time, every day, at the end of every day, you check off if you did it or not. So again, this is something that I use. So something for me might be start off the day with a devotional. Well, the first thing for me is get up when the alarm goes off, because that's something I used to struggle with, snoozing the alarm. So one was get up when the alarm goes off. Two was start off the day with a devotional. Right. Three, I'm going down the list. There's things that I need to do. So you list those things out. And at the end of the day, I reflect and ask myself if I did those things. And then if I did, I'll put a check mark on it. And if I didn't, I'll leave it blank. And the goal is that by the end of the month, you can review those check marks and say, wow, 18 out of 31 days, I had devotion. All right, next month, I'm gonna kick that up. If you look over on the right side, you have weekly habits. You list out all the things that you need to make happen every week. For me, exercising once a week. All right, but let's talk about it in terms of classroom. So for you, that's when in the classroom, you might say that every week, well, every day, maybe you're doing a do now and exit ticket. Right? Maybe every week you're doing 40 minutes on High Ready or something of that nature. And then there at the bottom, you have the monthly habits. These are things that we need to make sure happen at least once a month. And you're committing to this process and you're saying maybe, every month we're going to complete a differentiated activity, something of that nature. But is that making sense? You see how that's working? Right? How that habit tracker is useful? And as a matter of fact, I love giving resources. I'm actually going to give this habit tracker to you. I'm going to give you this habit tracker at the end. I'll let you know how to get access to it. I created it because I used it. It was so helpful. So I'm going to actually give a habit tracker to you or show you how to get that habit tracker. You can download it. You can print it. And yeah, Jennifer's like a version of this would be good for kids as well. Definitely keep them organized. So again, at the end, I'll show you how to get access to it. You can download it, you can print it, one for you, one for your kids. It doesn't matter. But fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So now for somebody that's saying, listen, and I asked you what's stopping you, and it's saying, I don't know how to track my progress to remain committed. Did I just show you a way that you can track your progress? Because when you're tracking progress, you can remain committed. Right. So now that you understand this, my charge to you is to remind you, somebody might mentally be saying, man, listen, I I want to do this, but I don't know if I can. I always need to encourage you. I want to do this, but I don't know if I can. I want to achieve these goals. I believe that it is, but I don't know if I can. Right? It's not an app, Jody. Jody's asking if it's an app. It's a digital download. It's a PDF of 12 months. Right. So a blank one for each month of the year. Right. And then so you can print it out and mark it up a physical copy. So somebody's asking, like, am I actually good at this? And I just need to let you know that this is not your first time. Like, you have achieved goals in the past. There's nothing new here. Like, you learned how to walk. You learned how to tie your shoes. You learned how to speak. Sometimes you learned how to speak different languages, right? You learned a lot of different things along the way. You had a goal, you set out and you achieved it. You wanted to graduate high school, you did it. You wanted to get a degree and you did. Like, there are a lot of things that you wanted to set out to do and you actually did it. And as you're looking at this and thinking, I'm feeling discouraged midway through the year. I'm not sure if we're going to achieve these goals. I don't know if I'm strong enough, if I'm smart enough, if I'm capable enough to make sure that we get all the rest of these students encouraged. I just need to let you know that proof that you have done it is proof that you can do it. Proof that you've done it before, right? Proof that you've achieved goals is just proof that you can achieve goals. And I'm super, super grateful for you. And I know that you can make this happen. If you know that you can make this happen, Let me see the muscle emoji, right? And it like, the one that looks like this, just the arm, like the muscle emoji that says, "I've got this. I can do this." I don't care what color you use. You can use the white one, the yellow one, the black one, the pink one. It doesn't matter. But just listen, put that muscle emoji in the chat if you are saying, "I got this. I can do this. I can implement this system. I can focus on my actions instead of outcomes. I'm going to remain committed to the process, and we can actually achieve these goals this year. I believe in you, but don't let me believe in you more than you believe in you."
Whether you are stepping into your first classroom ever or your 29th, sometimes you still feel like a brand new teacher, overwhelmed, unsure, and concerned as if you are actually making the impact that you've always dreamed of. Well, you're not alone. Teaching is really hard. And for most of us, we feel like we didn't get the adequate training that we needed. And without that guidance and support, we feel like we're failing ourselves, our students, our school community. The result? A lack of confidence that leads to burnout. Teachers are leaving the profession at high rates, but it doesn't have to be that way. And trust me, I know because I was a terrible teacher. But I turned it around from being that terrible teacher to a 2-time teacher of the year and currently a school administrator. And I created something to help you do the same. I created Impact, which is an engaged, educated community that was built to help you become the teacher that you've always wanted to be and make the impact that you've always wanted to make. Inside of Impact, you'll find practical, actionable courses that are built to help you become a more effective educator with new courses released every single month, with workbooks, as well as resources. You'll find a vibrant community of educators that are ready to support you, to guide you, and to celebrate you along the way. And you'll also earn gamified rewards for your participation because we believe in having fun and enjoying education. So you'll receive badges and rewards and accolades for your participation and engagement in the group and for your wins and celebrations. So whether it's learning how to better engage students or how to manage the classroom or differentiate for all learners, Impact is here to support you and surround you on your educational journey to become a better teacher. And the best part is you're not doing this alone because not only do you have the engaged community, but you have access to this former terrible teacher turned 2-time teacher of the year with access to coaching from me to really help you step by step along your way. So if you're ready to stop feeling stuck and to start making a real difference, this is your opportunity to take control of your career and make the difference that you want to make. So join Impact today and get started for free. Together, we can make education what it's always supposed to be: rewarding, fun, and highly impactful. I'll see you on the inside.